up, we are actually going to go to something positive, and that is Jamie Donnelly yesterday for Leyton Orient, firing his team into the playoffs, which is unbelievable for a team like Leyton Orient, who were, thought of just staying in the league this season. Unbelievable that they're sitting in the last playoff position with 2 games left to play in this current campaign. And just look at that goal from Jamie Donnelly to score the winner.
For some reason, it just reminds me of a goal you would score on NSS. One of those bouncers. But it's a brilliant volley, brilliant finish. And fair play to him. He's on fire recently after a slight dip in form after what was an unbelievable run he had a few months ago. He's looking like he's back on form at the moment. And as you say, in the playoff positions for Leyton Orient is incredible for them. And he's firing his way to it. And there's another brilliant. He's had so many wonderful moments with that left foot this season, hasn't he? So many bangers, and he's got such a sweet strike on him. And be interesting to see if he carries on this kind of form and what happens to him.
Two games left of the season, plus the playoffs.
Plus playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see what we do with him next year.
Yeah. So after the international break, he got taken out of the team for 2 out of 3 games. He was a substitute. And since coming back into the side in the last 3 games, against Crawley, he scored a goal in a 3-1 win. Against Barnsley, he got 2 assists in a 4-3 win. And yesterday against Cambridge, he got a goal and the winner in a 2-1 win. And that means Leyton Orient now are currently sitting 6th on 72 points. Reading are 7th on 72 points. And Bolton are 8th on 66 points. So next 2 games are absolutely massive for Leyton Orient. So let's hope they can get into the playoffs, that's for sure. No context, Tottenham. What's this all about?
This was them warming up. If the score's been cut out, it was 2-0 to Forest at this point.
Madison seems very happy for it.
I know, and Johnson, they're all having a smile and a joke, and I guess it rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way.
Yes.
When they're warming up on the touchline.
And that's our vice captain right there.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right when you got a. I mean. Look, I guess what they have to stay serious when they're warming up. I guess that's what fans would want, but it's just not a great look when we're 2-0 down at home and they're just having a laugh and a joke on the touchline when we're warming up, they should be ready to come on.
You would suggest like your captain when you're losing 2-0 isn't going to be laughing and joking on the sidelines.
You'd like to think. I guess it's just not a great look.
No. Football Confidential says the points difference between last season and this season. Not happy reading for Spurs fans. So we have got the biggest points drop in the Premier League from last season to this season, which is no surprise seeing as where we are in the league table, but a minus 23 points difference from last season.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a massive drop off. Even more than Man City won the league, way more than Man United. Yeah, bottom of the league. But it's also interesting to see, all those like middle teams, how much they've improved. That like a lot of them, like obviously Forest, Brentford, Bournemouth, Palace. That's been like the story of the season. Those middle teams really improving. But 23 points is madness. That's how many wins is that? That's like so 21 is 7 wins. That's like 8 wins basically.
This one says Spurs players celebrating our title win next week. It's from a Liverpool fan.
It's like it's going to be our Aguero moment.
You know what though? It's just like we've known Liverpool are going to win the league for so long. Like it's not the same as last season where we were dying for Man City to win the league. Like now, Arsenal haven't been good enough to win the league this season, so it's just like it doesn't even matter.
But I did see it was quite funny. It was like there was one tweet I saw. It was from a Liverpool fan saying, he was quote retweeting our celebrations when we beat them 2-1 last year, and he said, it's poetic justice that we get to win the league against them after how they celebrated this game or something. And I was just thinking, like, it's not realize like we absolutely want you to win the league. Like it's absolutely. In fact, like a lot of Spurs fans are looking forward to you winning the league against us. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, the reality is though, is like most Spurs fans wanted us to lose against Man City last year, but this year, I mean, who wants Liverpool to beat us next weekend? Nobody.
Are you sure about that?
Why? Why would you want us to lose?
So they confirm it.
Liverpool are going to win the league, whether they beat us or not.
I tell you, if Arsenal don't win tomorrow, then I'm happy for Spurs.
I want Spurs to win this weekend. I've got no reason to want Liverpool to win this weekend.
No, I do. Obviously, I want Spurs to win, but a lot of Spurs fans are call it a win-win.
Yeah, I mean that's just because everyone knows we're going to lose, so it's just like saying, "All right, fine, it's a win-win."
Yeah.
Next up is from Gunner Runner, I think it is, says Gunner
No,
Punner.
he's definitely a runner.
Spurs fans are going to celebrate losing to Liverpool on the weekend, and Ange is going to combust.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some. I don't know what the narrative is going to be. Do you reckon Ange will be asked about it in his press conference?
Probably.
Do Spurs fans
Just to
want to
wind
win?
them up.
Yeah, a little bit just to wind them up, 100%. Surely it can't happen again, this situation like that. We thought last year was like a 1 in a million chance and it potentially happening again this week.
Well, it's not the same though, is it? It's nowhere near the same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Spurs Army says the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was far from full ahead of kickoff this evening. I mean, or even on TV, you could see just so many empty seats.
Yeah, there was a lot, and that's only the south stand. You could see in the other stands as well. There was a lot of empty seats yesterday, so it wasn't a great turnout.
Euro Expert says, looking at Spurs fans' opinion on Tell is wild. It's either he's incredible or we absolutely should not sign him. I mean, I'm kind of in the middle. I don't think he's been incredible. I don't know if we should sign him or not, but I'm not in either of those camps, to be honest.
I think we should sign him, but I think we should renegotiate the fee. Probably, I think 50 million, which I think depends how desperate they are to sell and all. If he really wants to come as well, I think probably a lot depends on if we win that Europa League, whether he wants to stay here or not. Like, does he want to stay here if we're not in Europe and all that kind of stuff?
But assuming that, we've spent 10 million on his loan fee for half a season. Surely the max we should go to is like 30 million, 25 million, something like that.
I wouldn't mind spending 40 million on him.
That means 50 million.
50 million total package, yeah. I think, look, for a player of his potential, his age, the position, I just feel like if we don't sign him, we're going to be regretting it.
Isn't 40 million the buy option anyway?
No, it'll be 50 on top of what we have.
No, I think it's less than that. They said it's like 50 million euros, which is like 45 million.
Well, 50 million euros plus, plus the 10 we've already spent. So it'll be 60 million euros total package. Right. Well, look, I think we should sign him. I like what I see. I think there's a lot of potential there. You got to remember, he hasn't played a lot of football this year, and he's getting better, in my opinion. I just feel like there's a talent there, and it's a talent we will regret not pursuing, I think.
Spurs Connect says Matisse Tell is the type of player who gets you on the edge of your seat. He looks very comfortable as a left winger, has to be starting moving forward, offers much more in attack. If we can negotiate a lower fee with Bayern, would be great business, exciting player. Yeah, I mean, it is hard to disagree, but still, like, we need to see more from him.
Yeah, I think, look, the guy's only 19 as well. I've got to remember, he's only a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, for what he's showing, look, for a teenager, I think he's pretty good.
Spurs Watch says Bergvall is genuinely our best player.
He literally is. He literally is our best player. Do you think at this point, if let's say Decky last few games doesn't hit his top form, has he got a big shout then for Player of the Year?
I'm trying to think of other candidates. There are not many.
Not many, no.
It can't be Romero, Van der Ven, Porro, maybe.
Maybe Porro? But a lot of people were saying he was having a horrible season up until a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I know, but he's been one of our better players. That's how bad we've been.
Maybe Maddison? I could say Maddison. Maybe Johnson, a top goal scorer. Brennan. I think Bergvall's got a great shout because since December he's been great.
It's true.
Literally hasn't had a bad game since December.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Bergvall's definitely got a big shout for it. Who has been our best? It's such a hard one this year for player of the season.
Who's been our best player? Yeah.
Who's been our player of the season?
I want to know, chat. Yeah, I want to know in the chat who's your player. If you voted player of the year right now, who's our player of the year? I want to know what people in the chat are saying.
Who are you voting? Let's say for now, who would you vote player of the year?
If it was right now, I'd still just about give it to Decky, even though he's been out of form for a bit.
But Decky, let's be real with Decky. Like, how long was he actually good for? 2 months.
He was good for quite a bit. Even in the period where we had injuries, he was still getting regular goal contributions. Maybe even without playing that well. And then for about a month before he got injured, he was pretty bad. Maybe a bit longer. But I think Bergvall. I think right now I'd still give it to Decky, but I think there's enough time between now and the end of the season where Bergvall could easily top that.
I think Kulu was good for about 3 months this season.
And manager of the season, someone said.
Right.
Who'd you give it to? Chris Davis.
Manager of the season.
Ryan Mason. Our manager of the season.
We don't have a manager of the season.
We don't have one. Do we have a manager? Someone saying Brendan or Kulu. Bergval says Cantab.
Yeah,
Cancel this year's Player of the Year, someone said.
Yeah, probably right. Anyway, next up, Mr. Black Football says Spurs versus Nottingham Forest highlights. George says the stadium's half full. Then he commented saying, "Are you at the game?" George says yes, and then he says, "Sorry to hear, mate."
Poor guy had to sit through that. Just like me. At least I had some glasses of wine to keep me company.
The Tottenham feed says March 18th, 2024, Tottenham fighting for the top four, sitting in 5th, 8 points behind 3rd. Nottingham Forest were 18th in the table and just slapped with a 4-point deduction. The swing in the last 12 to 13 months is colossal. That is absolutely mad when you think about it.
Yeah, to think that they've got. I think did they stay up on the last day or near the last day? They get their
points deduction overturned.
Wasn't it overturned? Wasn't it? Yeah, they got slapped and then it got overturned. I think. Did they? I can't remember now.
I think it did get overturned, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so as well. But yeah, Forest, unbelievable, and they've built a really good team there. And you look at their team, there's. To be fair, you look at their team, there was a lot of players we were linked with, wasn't it, in the summer? Murillo, we were a lot of linked with.
Milenkovic,
we've been linked with Elanga and Hudson-Odoi as well. In their midfield, Gibbs White, heavily linked with Gibbs White.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a moment where it looked like we could have got him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And when they had PSR issues and we didn't push the
Brennan Johnson off them,
and we took Brennan instead. So you look at that team. There's it's a great team. I mean, there's a lot of players that we could have had in our team for sure.
Yeah. The screenshot lad says Tottenham lose at home to Nottingham Forest and are 16th in the Premier League with 1 point ahead of 17th in the Premier League. I just never thought I'd see this day again, where we're so low down in the league. Just never thought it would come to this.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought those days were behind us, but
here we are. All right, this tweet might take a while to go through. This is a very long tweet from Johnny H.
Oh, God.
He says, "May I present Ange Postecoglou, our record-breaking Spurs manager." You ready for this, Sib?
Go on.
35 defeats since November the 5th, 2023, and our 10-game unbeaten run. 22 defeats in all competitions this season. Most home games conceded first in the calendar year 2024. We went 1-0 down in 15 home games during 2024 calendar year, the most ever by a Premier League team in a single year. Worst home winless run since 2008, and now it's 2024. We went 5 straight home matches without a win in the Premier League, our longest winless run at home since 2008, a year that also saw us pick up their lowest Premier League points total in a calendar year, which was 52. Shots faced in a calendar year 2025. In the first 11 games of 2025, we faced 167 shots on goal, averaging over 15 per game. This is more than 40 shots higher than any other Premier League club in all competitions during that period, including the relegation sides. Still a long way to go on this. On course for our highest number of losses in a single Premier League season, with 18 currently and 19 being our worst ever, which was under Ozzy Ardiles, and you expect that's probably going to be 19 this weekend against Liverpool, and probably will be over that by the end of the season. Most goals conceded in a calendar year since 2008. Longest run of consecutive Premier League defeats in 16 years. We had 4 consecutive Premier League losses between late January and early February 2025, a streak not seen since the 2008-2009 season. Most goals conceded in all competitions in a season. By February 2025, we had conceded 57 goals across 39 games in all competitions, averaging 1.5 goals per game, a figure worse than all but Leicester and Southampton. And they're on 62 and 63 respectively. We're on 57. 3 North London derby losses in a row, the first time since 1989. This has not happened in 36 years. It's happened on Ange, and it's been accepted by so many of you. Our worst points tally at this stage of a season since 2009, 16 years. 0-0 with part-time side, with a part-time side 96 places below us in 90 minutes, a club who literally play part-time footballers working in retail. We've now lost 6 games pre-international break periods: Wolves, Fulham, Newcastle, Brighton, Ipswich and Fulham again. We have now faced more shots in 2025 than any other team in the Premier League. Our only home win in 2025 had come from Southampton, who have been relegated, and Manchester United. We have now lost the most home games in their history, 8 in a standard 38-game season. We are currently on track to lose 20 games in a single season, the most ever recorded. Our Premier League points per game average is at its lowest, which is 1.11. Please stop making excuses for the worst manager we've ever had. Regardless, if we win the Europa Trophy, it will be despite him, not because of him.
Well, you can't just say if we win it, he doesn't get any credit for it.
That's what Johnny H is saying.
Yeah, I think that's a bit ridiculous. You can't say this is all Ange's fault.
So that's the one thing you go to, not any of the negative stuff.
Yeah, I get all that. I'm just saying. My only point is all that negative stuff you're saying. He's saying that's all Ange's fault, but if we win the trophy, that's nothing to do with him.
Well, regardless of winning the trophy, we haven't won the trophy yet. So let's talk about what's actually been. But
that was his point.
Done.
Yeah, it's shocking. Obviously, what can I say? It's absolutely terrible.
It's madness. It's madness that he's still in a job. That's what's mad.
Yeah, but if we win that trophy, it'll be worth it.
If. It's a big if.
It's still we're not far away from it.
We're not far, and we're getting closer and closer. We need to beat Bodo. Hotspur reports this was a quote from Carragher last night saying they're so naive, like an academy team. That's what he's saying about Spurs.
Well, fair play. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that might be true.
The next one is the points difference that we've been through. Spurs Connect saying Tottenham have now 18 losses in the Premier League. End the season. Well, in the Premier League season, that's for sure.
Yeah, come on. You don't want to end the season just yet. We're still in the Europa League. Come on.
Spurs talk show. Shawnee gives us some takeaways from the game yesterday. He says Odegaard is better than Johnson. Tell better than Son.
Ooh.
Bentancur is nowhere near the 6 some of you say he is. Sell Sarr, Bentancur, Bissouma as all not fit for purpose and replace him with one monster 6, for example, Edison, and should have played Danso as Wood's aerial threat too strong for Van de Ven and Romero. Decky is not match fit. Richarlison scores 1 but should have scored a hat-trick. Sell. Porro, awful defensive positionally. Best 11 is clearly obvious. Vicario, Udogie, who's that? Van de Ven,
yeah.
Romero, Porro, who's RB? Bentancur for now. Who's LB? Lucas Bergval.
Madison or Decky.
Tell, Odegaard, Solanke.
It's so obvious he had to put a slash on Madison and Decky.
Yeah,
that's
so
how obvious. That's how obvious it is. He can decide.
He says Bentancur's nowhere near the 6 some of you say he is. I mean, is anyone saying that he's that monster 6 that we crave? I haven't seen that from anyone.
No, I think he's played quite well in the Frankfurt games, but yeah, he hasn't been consistent. That's the truth.
Yeah. Jay just says mate, and they brought this up. Apparently, Will Still was ripping Ange a new one on Sky Sports last night.
I haven't seen it.
Defeats 17, home defeats 7, clean sheets at home 2, away defeats 10. Goals conceded 49, expected goals against 53.8, points versus the top 6, 3 out of 30. Wow, that's mad. Ranked no higher than 14th, and we are 16th. So, yeah, very shocking to be honest.
Just depressing.
Spurs Express says Spurs could break some unwanted records in the coming weeks. They need to avoid losing 2 more games to not have their most defeats in a single season. They need 8 more points if they are to surpass their worst points total in the Premier League era. They've already suffered their most home defeats in a 38-game season, but another 2 home defeats would surpass their worst total in a 44-game season. That's just mad, man.
Also, that was the last one there, but I thought I liked this, but apparently I didn't. But if you can you refresh it and go to the top? There's an interesting thing I want to discuss because this is the second journalist I've seen say this. This is Matt Law saying Forest will fully deserve a Champions League place if they get there, but it will be ludicrous if Tottenham join them through the back door. And he's basically suggesting that it's ludicrous that Europa League winner is being given a Champions League space and they won't deserve it if they win the Champions League. And that's off the back of Ian Ladyman, who was on a podcast for the Daily Mail last week, saying it's a disgrace that the Europa League winners get a Champions League spot and it's pure elitism and it's favouring the big clubs, that kind of thing. But I'm like, but do you agree with that? That it's a disgrace that Europa League winners get a Champions League spot?
No, I think it puts more emphasis on the Europa League, and I think that you only hear these narratives when Spurs getting close to doing something.
All
Like,
of a sudden, it's a disgrace.
I've never heard it. I've never heard this kind of argument or
Yeah.
complaint before Spurs were in the semi-final.
And also, is finishing 5th in the Premier League any more deserving than Europa League winners of getting a Champions League football?
5th? No, not 5th.
You know what I mean? And so why isn't 5th being called the back door?
I brought up the argument not long ago. I don't know if it was on the channel or I was just speaking to someone, but I don't think that top 4 in any league should be Champions League football. I think it should be top 2. That's what I think. I think top 4. I don't understand why 3rd and 4th should be playing Champions League football. I think it should just be for champions and runners up. Like, I think it would make the competition a lot better.
Well, I think it's a great competition. I like it. I like how it is.
It is a great competition, but it's the Champions League. Like, it should be just for elites. You know what I mean? Like, why should, if you finish 4th in the league, get you a place in the Champions League?
Because it's an elite competition. What are you saying? There should be the Europa League should be
the Europa League 3rd and 4th, and the Champions League 1st and 2nd, and it would up the quality of the Europa League, and
make Champions League a smaller competition.
Yeah, and I think that would be better.
But then they'll
less football as well.
I mean, I'd go for that. Sure, get a less competition. I don't know how many teams would be in the Champions League. I don't know how it'd work with a group stage and knockout and all that kind of stuff. It'll be smaller.
It'll be smaller, but I just feel like that's what the Champions League should be about. It should be about the best couple of teams from each division, and the Europa League also would up the quality of the Europa League as well, and the Conference League.
And the Conference League. All smaller competitions. Make them all smaller. It's never going to happen, unfortunately.
It will never happen because they're too focused on money. But in terms of you're looking at this Conference League, and
it's a nonsense,
everyone's looking at it like a nonsense, right? But actually, if they did that, it would rise the stock of the Conference League and rise the stock of the Europa League as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I just hate this narrative, like winning the Europa League is make it through the back door, and you're winning the second biggest European competition, and that's
the second worst European competition.
Well, it's 3 competitions, but the second biggest one, and it's always been seen as quite a good trophy. Like, no one sees Europa League as a bad trophy.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, because Tottenham are close to winning it, they'll make it through the back door. Whereas if you're finishing 5th, that's absolutely that's not through the back door. That's like deserved.
Yeah, it is deserved, but it's just hard to say Spurs deserve anything out this season when we're going to be sitting in 16th.
I understand that, but if you win the competition, then you deserve it.
Yeah,
it's winning a competition. Why shouldn't you deserve it?
Yeah, let's go and win it then.
Oh, absolutely, we have to win it. Just saying, if you win a competition like that, I think you should deserve to be in the Champions League.
But look, that is how the internet did react to the game yesterday.